What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, everybody? How we doing today? I hope we're doing good. Well, I'm Jacob Breiling, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Jacob Breiling. So this video, this part of my channel, this is about my book I've been working on the past 4 years about my life called Cocaine and Cancer. There still can be hope, where I'm giving you a video book, not an audio book, a video book where I'm reading it verbatim, and I'm giving you the unedited version of my book while it's in the process of being edited. And then after this video, I go ahead and I talk about what happened throughout this video, throughout this part of the chapter. So with all that being said, if you guys like what you see, please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, and help me get the word out there and this and out. Share, because this is what it's about. So with all that being said, so today's video is part 4 of a 4-part series leading into the next chapter of when I got set up and robbed with the gun to the head by this guy named Casey. So this video, I talk about the 2 instances where our relationship started to go south, and he now knew he was going to set me up and rob me. The one time is when he realized I was never going to buy cocaine byproduct from him because I couldn't trust the guy and I thought he was shady. So I tell that whole story. And then the second time is when he realized he couldn't make money off me. He couldn't hustle me, where he wanted me in on this scam, this fake check scam with the Greeks. And I was like, no way. But I talk about both those situations in this part of the video. And then lastly, at the end of each chapter, I put an analogy of what happened throughout that chapter. But it was more of a, what did I learn analogy? Or what can I steer you away from analogy? And then also an inspirational thought, talking about maybe stay away from this life, just different things and different things I've learned and thoughts and sayings that help push me through life, that help me get me through these hard times. So I talk about all this stuff in this video, so I hope you guys enjoy. And like I said before, if you guys like what you see, please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe, and enjoy part 4. Thank you.
Warning, some of these stories and content are intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Names, date, and places have been changed to not incriminate the guilty. Otherwise, do not hold me liable.
Apparently, these were the 2 things that Casey didn't like about our relationship that led to the robbery. Time number 1. Evidently, like I said, these events were the 2 final things that broke the camel's back between Casey and myself. These instances led him to eventually set me up and rob me. Like I mentioned earlier, Casey, he was a career drug dealer. And when he realized he couldn't make any money off me, that I knew who he was, that I had no trust in him, and that I would never buy product from him, he did the next best thing. He turned on me like a beaten, savage dog. But back then, that was the thing with me. Even though I was this young pup, the one thing I wasn't was gullible, especially to anyone who was trying to hustle or pull one over on me. It didn't matter where or what you were doing. It just wasn't happening. First off, I didn't trust a lot of people, and I always thought the worst in things, especially when they seemed too good to be true. I questioned everything, and you know what? If the cards were right and it was a certain situation, I'd even question my own mother. Mom, where you at? Where'd you get that fur coat from? Where'd you get that money from? Who are you with? I'm kidding to an extent, but I question everything. Yeah, this lifestyle brought out the worst in me, had me paranoid as fuck. And the more and more I was living this life, the more and more I hated it. But as time went by and getting to know KC and opening up my eyes to this life, I already thought this guy was shady, so he had that strike going against him. I could be his friend, but I definitely never wanted to do business with him. No freaking way. But on this day, I thought I'd give him a shot to listen to. For weeks, he kept hounding me about this new product, so I told him I'd meet him at his bar to hear him out. Casey used to work as a bouncer in Wrigleyville called the Eagle's Nest. We get to his bar, and Casey's already waiting for me outside. He goes, "Hey, let's go inside." Apparently, he wanted to show me this great cocaine he had to hook up on. This cocaine was the infamous shimmering fish scale Peruvian flake. This cocaine was cocaine you just heard about, like Area 51 or Bigfoot. Peruvian flake was that Moby Dick, and Casey surprisingly had it. And he wanted me to try it, so maybe we could do business together. We get in his bar. He asked me to go with him upstairs to the second floor, so we're going up the back stairwell. And I felt important, like a big shot. Like these were the days of Al Capone and the underground speakeasies. I felt that way because no one was ever allowed up there. Plus, it was under construction. The only thing up there was empty rooms, power tools, broken furniture, beer bottles, bar flyers, condoms, and dust. Not to mention there was freaking dust everywhere. So now him and I are in one of these empty rooms, and he goes to me all excited and proud and says, "Hey, look at this." And he pulls out this gigantic rock of cocaine, which, by the way, is shimmering as if it was blood diamonds from the scales of Peru. The scales that say, "I can't feel my face." I guess what he was doing, he was showing me this monster bag of blow. He was pitching me into buying his product, but I told him I already have a guy. But as he's pitching me, I can see his mouth moving. But the only thing I'm thinking in my head is, no way, I don't trust you. I would never do business with you. You're shady. No freaking way. So I tell him once again, I already have a guy, and I'm loyal, and we have trust. And to be honest with you, Casey, I don't know if I trust you. When I said that, it went silent for minutes on end. He didn't know what to say. He just looked at me. I guess he wanted to gain my trust. He didn't want to burn this bridge. So he left it at that. And then he tells me, after he throws me these ridiculous lowball prices, to just think on it. Just sleep on it. I don't have to answer today. And then with the big smile on his face, he pulls out that huge rock and breaks it off into the size of a cracked walnut. We crush it up on the windowsill, and we snorted these 2 gigantic rails of this fire Peruvian flake. As I inhaled it, I choked for a minute. But I don't know if that was the fact because his cocaine was so freaking good, or the fact that I just partially snorted that drywall dust. Between you and me, his cocaine was so on point that this batch might be up there on the list of breaking my top 10 quality cocaines I've done in my entire life. His cocaine was so freaking good. But with him, I could always see it in the future that the cocaine we just did wasn't going to be the cocaine I would get consistently day in and day out. Down the road, it was probably going to be garbage. And who knows how many times it would be cut with pancake mix or baking soda. The old bait and switch routine. Shit, I could see it now. The cocaine I would be getting was going to be this dust from this drywall we just snorted up our nose. You know, I wish I did, but I didn't trust the guy. It's sad that I thought this way about KC, but that's what type of person he was. It's like the saying goes, a leopard can't change his spots. And KC was someone that was only looking out for himself. He didn't care about other people. He would do whatever he could to screw over the next. And that is why I put so much emphasis these days on when I give you my word that I'm not full of shit. And when I say something, I do it no matter what. My word is my bond. In life, if you can't trust or believe what someone's saying, in my eyes, that person's garbage to me. But then again, that's just how I am, how I was raised, how I try to hold myself to a standard that I try to keep. But one might be thinking to themselves, who am I kidding? I was a fucking drug dealer. But yes, that may be true. But even though I was a drug dealer, I still had rules and morals that I lived by. And I still consider myself to be different and outside the norm for most drug dealers. But then again, who am I kidding? I was a fucking drug dealer. And this is time number 2. And then the other time Casey didn't like that he couldn't hustle me or catch me slipping. It was when he was trying to get me in on this scam, this fraudulent racket he had in the works, where he wanted me to give him my bank account number because he had this shady check deal going on with the Greeks where I would give them my account number and they would deposit increments of $4,000 into my account. And I would give them half the money and keep the rest for myself. At the time, I didn't think about the logistics of this. I just thought, no way in hell am I going to give him and the crooked ass Greeks my account number, especially just the fact because I don't trust the guy. And this was my personal information. So once Casey knew he couldn't make money with or off me, his tune changed towards me. Then on top of it, he didn't like that I opened my mouth about these hustles of a few people we knew, and word got back to him. And Casey definitely did not like the fact that it was rumored I had a loud mouth. That meant the only thing left for him to do to me was to flip the script and set me up. Things as I knew it was coming to an end with our relationship. But the silver lining to this whole event was it allowed me to clear my head and get out of Dodge. It led me to take a cross-country trip by myself. Just get away, get out of this environment. I thought getting away would be a stress-free trip, a vacation. I thought I'd be at ease for at least a minute or two. Boy, was I wrong. There was never a dull moment in my life, especially when I was in a new city where no one knew my name and no one could hold me accountable. But it's crazy. Throughout the years, as I tried to ponder and dissect why I kept screwing up my life, whether it was with work or with play, the main culprit, if you can't tell, was drugs. Whether it was getting in trouble with the law, making poor choices, blowing through all my money, getting sexually assaulted, getting drugged, overdosing, or with work, not showing up on time, and only caring about myself. Drugs were clouding my life and my thinking. I just didn't care. Bad decisions. I'm shocked I'm still alive and not in jail with the way I carried on my life. Don't follow this road and stay away from this life. Please watch out. If it can happen to me, it can happen to you. No joke, it's that easy. One wrong turn can capsize into that disaster. And that, my friends, that was part 4. Thank you for watching it, and I hope you enjoyed it. But more than enjoying it or liking it, I hope you took something away from it, or you learned something from it, or maybe you could pass something along to a loved one so they don't make some of the same mistakes or go down some of the roads that I've gone through. Or you pass something along that I went through that might be able to help them out. Because this is what it's about. This is what it's about. And when I was writing this, it was hard. It was rough having to remember these events because there's some crazy things coming up, and this is the way I carried on my life. And sometimes it's embarrassing, but these moments, they all made me who I am today, for as cliche as that is, because all these instances, all these mistakes, everything you go through, you know, you wouldn't be you if you didn't go through these moments. And when I gave you the analogy at the end about where all my problems and rooted all through my 20s and 30s, it was drugs and alcohol. But even if the older Jacob was telling the younger Jacob, would I listen? Probably not. You know, I'd like to say I would, but these are situations that you end up learning the hard way. And I'm sure you've had someone tell you this. Your parents, they've had people tell them that. Their grandparents had people tell them that. This is part of life. You know, people are going to tell you these things when you're young, but you're not going to listen, you know. But maybe by you hearing me say this, maybe you will listen now. Maybe you will realize that, hey, if I keep going down this road, shit like this may happen to me that happened to Jacob, you know? So that's all I'm trying to do when I end up writing this book and sharing you my skeletons, is to share this to you. So hopefully you go down a different path, or not even with the drugs and alcohol, getting through cancer, getting through adversities, getting through the car accident, all these things I'm going to share with you guys. And then the other quote I gave at the end when I go, don't follow this road and stay away from this life. That's so true. But it's even more true when I go, one wrong turn can capsize into that disaster, because one wrong turn turns into another wrong turn and another wrong turn and another wrong turn. And then you freaking capsize into that disaster. So I'm sharing with you my journey. So maybe you don't make that first wrong turn. Maybe. So that's about the analogy. But then I was hanging out with some bad dudes. The guy Casey, he was a bad thug. And after I got to know him, he ended up robbing some other people, and him and his guys took some bats to him and hurt him bad. I mean, that could happen to me. I mean, I'm glad I didn't start buying cocaine from him. You know, I'm glad I thought he was shady. I'm glad I wanted nothing to do with him, because that could have been me. Because what would have happened is they would have gave me pancake mix one time, and then me being this hard 19-year-old kid, I would have came at him. What would have happened? A Louisville Slugger to my head, or maybe a 45 to my dome. Maybe I'm in a ditch. Maybe I'm in jail. Maybe any of these happened. But I'm glad I at least had common sense to say no. And then also when he wanted me in on the scam with the checks with the Greeks. Number one, the Greeks slipped me liquid G one time, and I had everything robbed from me. Not just one time, many times. I was at the clubs. Oh yeah, I want to do business with you guys. I want to give you my bank account number. F no, forget that. But this is what type of people I was surrounding myself in this lifestyle, in this drug game. This is what happens. This is what happens when you hang out with the wrong people. So don't hang out with the wrong people. Surround yourself with good people, and you're still going to have bad apples around, but you have less of a chance. So that's pretty much in a nutshell what happened in this video. And that's a little insight for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys later. Boom, money in the house.